Hey there, Her Tribe. Welcome or welcome back to the Becoming Her experience. I am Stephanie Kelleher, and I help Christian single women make the most of their singleness as well as prepare themselves for marriage. And today we have a treat for you. Brian and I, the babe and I, are 7 years into marriage. And so we just wanted to take some time to kind of process and navigate some thoughts that we've been having. And we decided to record it and kind of let you in on what marriage has been like for us over the past 7 years. And so you're about to get a very raw, very unedited version of the babe and I just having a conversation and enjoy. So, stop. I'm not gonna edit this.
That's fine.
So make it good.
America, you're getting it all.
Oh Lord, help me. Okay, so we're coming up on 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? I guess that's the first question. Like 7 years.
I feel like that's something. Again, going back to what I originally thought about, I never thought I'd be in this space. So, for me to be 7 years into a space that I never thought I'd be, is pretty amazing in itself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely really sentimental today. I feel like, I don't know, I just have a lot of feelings, especially because we've talked a lot about like future plans, things that we are wanting to do, not wanting to do. We have a 5-year-old in like 16 days. So I just feel very like sentimental is the word.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
It has been a journey. It's been a good journey though.
I agree.
It's been a good journey. So I just have questions. If you could do anything different to prepare for marriage, what would you do? If you could do something not even necessarily different, but more or less or different?
I think for me, I would have not shut out the prospect of marriage so quickly.
Talk more about that. What does that mean?
I think that obviously when you're in a relationship, you're at least I've always been taught you date to find your mate, you date to marry.
Mm-hmm.
And so when dating would start and then stop and then start and then stop and then start and then stop, that for me was heartbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point it's like you keep setting yourself up to get hurt.
Okay.
So why would I was like, this is ridiculous. So why do I keep walking into a wall, not taking any accountability for myself? So it was more to protect myself without having to change. So it was a twofold answer.
Ooh,
so
look at you, deep already. Question number one.
So it's not just the beard. So I think that with that was the biggest challenge. But if I could go back and do that again, I would do more work on myself, enjoy the singleness of it, more in the way of like do some work on yourself. Like, don't be like, well, this sucks. Yeah, it does. But at the same time, it sucks. But what am I doing to get better? It sucks. But what am I doing to make myself a better person? Not for somebody else, but for myself first, and then,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I I can relate to some of that. Definitely the enjoy singleness more. Man, like I enjoyed singleness, but it took me a while to recognize that it was good. Even though I was truly single, it took me a long time to start really enjoying it. And I agree also that like I would work on myself more. You know, hindsight is 2020, and so now I know the things in me that need to be worked on. And you get to help me work on those things.
Woo.
Congratulations.
That's what it's all about, kids. Boom.
Go to the bathroom, baby cakes.
Then you work on that.
Yeah, we're live, y'all.
We live, baby.
But definitely, now I know the heart condition that I have, right? Of like the anger that can come out and the way that I respond to different situations. And so now I can see it and I get to do the work on it. It definitely would have been awesome to have something like Becoming Her, where I could ask questions and really get the information of like, what do I need to work on? What are the heart conditions that are in me? So I think those are the two things, just really enjoying it more and really doing more hard work, and knowing what hard work to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Next question.
All right.
What is the most unexpected thing about marriage that you've encountered? I have to think about it too.
I think it's a twofold answer. Like, one, when you get married, there's shifts and changes in the way that you do things. Like, you know, when you're single, you're like, hey, I'm gonna go get some food. Anyone else got a problem with that? Yeah. No? Great. I'm leaving. But now it's like, you know, you have to take into consideration somebody else that you would always go get a burger, and she may not want the burger. She may want something different. And to be able to come to a space where you as a couple can talk it out, figure it out. And again, burgers are like first world problems, but
but real first
but
world
real
problems.
yes, food is important, kids. But
don't call the Her Tribe kids.
Ladies, food is important. We're not editing this.
We're not editing this.
Live.
Okay, focus.
I am focused. I think that's, you know, but if you can, if we're going to talk about it, if you can figure out how to compromise or figure out how to work out a balance, even with something as small as food, then the chances are, the more that you practice that, you're able to do it in bigger things. But if you're not willing to compromise on something as small as food, you got a lot of things to prepare for. So
yeah, I think the thing that I didn't expect was, like, if I'm very honest, the fact that I really couldn't change you. Like, I had this version of you in my head that I wanted. And a lot of it is like what the Lord showed me of you, but I didn't make space for your process. I didn't make space for you to have your own relationship with the Lord and for him to be able to do in you all the things that it took me 10 years to process. I just wanted you to wake up and do it. one day, you know. And so I had to learn that, like, and to make space for the fact that you have your own journey and your own life to live and your own relationship with the Lord, and He's going to do in you, and you're going to navigate with Him in the way that you're going to navigate with Him, not in the way that I want you to or think you should. And I think once I truly, truly have let go of the expectation that this is who I want you to be, regardless of what that foundation is, right? Praise the Lord. If God showed me things about you and who you are and what you will do and can do or whatever, can I genuinely love you for who you are right here and give you the space to be the man that you are right now? And not only was it unexpected for me that I couldn't change who you were and how you were, but once I released it and surrendered it to the Lord, we became happier, but then I became more free because I didn't have this expectation. I didn't have this is what I'm looking for. This is what I need to see. It was just like, that's between you and Jesus. Like, that's not even, that's something I can pray into.
Right.
And there are spaces that I can ask the Lord to work with you. And honestly, every time I try to force something, I realize the Lord is working in me. Like, it's a space for me to learn to surrender to the Lord. And when I do, it's like, oh, that thing happened. You know, like, it's more about me learning to surrender to the Lord than it is about you needing to change. And then oftentimes it's just like, no, He doesn't need to change. Like, you need to change. And so, like, if we're gonna be real, that is the number one thing that I just was not expecting. Welcome to that. Welcome to that answer.
I'm gonna need a copy of this video to study over and over again. Make it to 14, baby.
Okay, next question. I have a bunch of questions, and I don't know what question we're on. Is this the? We had a pre-question,
two,
and then we had two
this is
questions,
3.
right? And this is 3. Okay, cool. What's the best thing about marriage?
I think for me, the best thing about marriage is not having to do it alone.
Mm.
I think that, you know, while in, you know, like kind of segueing back to the last question, going back to the last question, you know, having to go get a burger, if I want to get a burger, no one's going to really say anything about it. But having someone that loves you and cares about you and says, look, we don't really need to get a burger because of X, Y, or Z. Like, look, if we want to do this, let's maybe, you know, to actually give an outside perspective of where, like, before it was just a one-way ticket and this is the way we're going, and I don't really have any thought of who else is around. It's a space where now that there's a bigger picture or a step back from the emotion of it, but to like, look, you know, let's take a second about, you know, if we cut down, and I know we keep going back to food, but and if we cut down, like if we cut down from eating out so much, the things that we want to do, we can do. And then that gives you a realization of like, you know, and that's why when God made the woman, that He shouldn't do it alone. There's a lot of other things obviously more important, but it's sometimes just a perspective or just a look in a way that I'm not thinking of, and you're like, oh, okay, I got it. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So one of the things that I share a lot about is how we are either on the exact same page or polar opposites, right? And so when it comes to, for instance, choleric versus sanguine, right? You're like the partier. You want to go hang out. You're spontaneous. You want to do all the things right now. Forget.
Like this. This is sanguine all the way.
All day. And so just having that space of, let's do it. I want to do this. Let's do this. As opposed to me being in the space of like bigger picture, long game, which we both need each other, right? Because there's definitely the space of like, sometimes we need to be spontaneous. Sometimes things are way too stressful, way too orderly, and you need to come in and say, babe, whoa, we're going out today, you know? And sometimes it's like, okay, well, we can go to dinner, but then how is that going to affect, you know, whatever, the plan that we have in 2 to 3 weeks from now, when that, you know, $50, $30, whatever it is,
would be helpful,
is part of that budget. And so, I hear that. I have to look at the question again. The best thing about marriage for me is hands down, and I talk about this a lot too, having somebody who 100% genuinely loves me for me. And like you said, going back to that last question, I think even just recognizing that I'm 100% loved in all of my mess, right? The things y'all don't get to see. The moments that, you know, are raw and real and not on video, right? Like, you love me so completely and wholly that, and I don't have to worry about trying to be a certain thing, which I have had to in the past. There have been men who have been like, well, I really want to see this from you. And I'm like, but I'm not that. Like, that's not me at all. And one of the first, if not the first conversation that we had was like, hey, let's get to know each other. I'm not playing with you. Like, I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to be phony. I'm going to be real. You need to be real. Right? And you know this, I have made so many major decisions based on that conversation of, let's be real, be yourself, be honest, be genuine. And now I don't ever wonder if you love me for who I am, if you love my quirks, if you love my obnoxious, the very few obnoxious parts.
Her tribe. I don't get on here much. I also don't say a lot. But I'll be the first to admit I obviously am a challenge to live with. With that being said, she's definitely underselling. It is hard work. It is hard work.
Yes.
And if you don't know me, that's very sarcastic.
Some days are tough in the streets, though.
Oh, that's any marriage. That is any relationship. That is anything that has to do with two people that have two different opinions about two different things.
Yeah, there's lots of opinions.
There are.
That's and again, it goes back to like our being on the exact same page or polar opposite.
Yeah.
There's very little gray in our marriage.
Agreed. Which is
jogging pants.
That's biblically sound, people. We are
not hot or cold.
We are hot.
We're not lukewarm.
We are not lukewarm. We're not getting spit out.
But I think for sure having someone who 100% loves me, and I don't have to be fake or be concerned about what I'm doing. In terms of like, who am I and how am I reacting to things and to people, and will I still be loved at the end of the day?
I think that's something that is intentional, because that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Like if you want something, right, you have to foster that culture. Like if you want someone to reciprocate something, then you have to be the one to be the first one to step out and do that.
Yeah. And going back to the last question, like, you have taught me that too. Like, me learning how to genuinely say, this is who you are today.
Yeah.
And this is who I'm going to be I've learned that from you, right? To say, okay, this is who you are and this is who I'm going to be. By the way, I don't think we introduced ourselves.
I am the guy that is known as Bry, or however I'm referred to,
The babe. This is the babe.
I'm the babe. Because this would be a really awkward 7-year question if I was just some rando dude. I am the babe.
This is the babe. Yeah.
Boom. Right there.
The babe.
Boom.
Wow. There you go. Okay. What's the next question? And I'm Stephanie Kelleher. I'm the founder of the Becoming Her experience. And I'm so grateful to be here.
I am too.
Okay. That was number 3. Number 4. How has your life become better since you got married? Since we got married? Not you. We.
I was like, yeah, this is gonna get weird. Let me see. I think the fact that it's just not on my own. Like, it's just not it's not a one-trick pony type thing.
Yeah.
It's a collective, no pun intended, but it's a collective or collaborative effort.
A Kelleher collective.
Yeah. It's trademarked, please. It's joking.
The name of our company is Kelleher Collective. We don't talk about that very much, but anyway.
We don't. But but the collaboration of the fact that you have perspective. There's an outward perspective. There's a different look. There's a different feel. There's a different way of thinking that over years it becomes the maybe the secondary voice in the way of, okay, I want to do this, but I know what would I do? Steph has had this. Well, Steph would probably go this way, or thinking along these lines. So at bare minimum, instead of being impulsive and doing those things, it now helps me take a step back to say, okay. And then even more so with Bree. So now it's like, okay, now I have 2 other people that I have to take into consideration. And it's like, so it doesn't, there are still impulsive moments. Don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. But at the same time, at bare minimum, it makes me go like, okay, wait. There's other people that are involved with my decision.
Yeah. There's a level of accountability and a level of like checks and balances as well. Yeah. I think you've grown in your leadership for sure as a result of you've had to, right? Like, you're responsible now for 2 lives, and not like in that way, but you're the head of our home, and so if you're the head, then you've had to learn how to cast vision. You've had to learn how to say, even to communicate, like, I want a burger, as opposed to just get up and walk out and get the burger, right? And so learning to cast the vision, learning to allowing other people in on the vision, and bouncing it off of people, and ultimately saying, like, I hear you, but this is where we're going at the end of the day. Like, you've definitely grown in those spaces. I think for me, I called it out the gate before you were even before we even really got together. It's like, I'm just gonna be a nicer person, right? And especially because you're not a hard, direct person, right? And so I can't come to you in that very straightforward, direct, this is what I think. I'm not so concerned about the feelings or the emotions behind it. I have to be very considerate of how to navigate the conversation, how to season it with love and honey, as the Bible would say, right? And so, I was recently talking to one of my friends, actually, who I've known for 20 years, and she was saying, like, the way that you deal with people is so much more inviting, welcoming. And I literally said, that's Bryce's fault. Like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but like, yeah, that's been a huge work that you've done in my life. It's just like, I've had to become softer. I've had to learn to communicate better, more completely, but also more lovingly, so that people could receive. I was actually talking to my sister about this the other day too. Is like, I don't get it. Why does it have to be said in a certain way? And she's like, no, you get it. You've been dealing with me and the babe. Like, you get it. And I'm like, I still don't like it, So that's pretty funny. Let's move on to the next question. What question is this? Number 5 we're coming up on? I think we did 4 already, so we're coming up on 5. Okay, I'm just gonna ask the last 3, 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Don't
my mather's mathing right now.
I say don't kill us if our math is off.
My mather's mathing
don't
right now.
Don't kill us in the comments, people.
If we're off by 1, then just take the pre-question as the first question.
So, that's how you figure it out. Year 7 of marriage. I may not know where the numbers are at this point, but we'll figure it out.
Last year I posted that we were going into year 7, and then I was like, that's incorrect. That's a re-edited. Anyway, what's one thing that we started doing as a couple that has most impacted our relationship?
Talking about stuff 6 months out. Like, I think that it was big when we were dating. We talked about marriage, so we kind of had a plan. Then when we talked about having children, we kind of talked that through before we actually, before we came in to, so it wasn't like, oh man, we're here, what do we do?
Yeah.
We had a plan. We kind of planned it out. Didn't have to be specific, but we had an idea of what we felt and how we felt about things, so that way we wouldn't have to be like, well, what do we do here?
Right. So, no, I agree with you. That's really good. Yeah, I was gonna say something along those lines too. Like, this year we were really intentional about family meetings. He doesn't. That's not his favorite.
Well, when food's involved, it is.
Okay.
So you've learned to say, hey, we're going to go to Red Robin and have a family meeting
at Red Robin.
Yep.
All day.
Let's
Ring
do it.
Up.
Ring it, Pam.
Ring it, Pam. You have to tag Pam in this so she'll see.
You know it.
So yeah, I agree. I think that definitely the fact that we have kind of always been ahead and knowing where we're going, but even more so once we start to sit down and ask the real questions of how are you doing?
Yeah.
What can I do better? Am I doing what I said I was gonna do?
Yeah.
Is it working? Right?
Yeah.
I think that's been really game changing for us. Just in terms of even being on the same page and knowing where we're going, and just having that thought of, okay, this is the direction we're going in.
Yeah.
I agree with you. What did we stop doing that you'd like to bring back? It's a good question.
I think that's a hard question to actually because some of that's contingent on other things.
Okay.
Like, obviously, for example,
Oh.
I'd like to see us be able to go out more, but that also was when we were both in different places financially.
Right, no, for sure.
So
we weren't building a business.
Correct. We weren't building a business. We weren't, weren't homeowners. We weren't, there's, we also didn't, Huh?
We were homeowners. We didn't own a house like this with land and
we didn't
having to mow and
we
I see
did.
what you're saying. There was less
So there was
responsibility
more.
attached to the house.
So there
That's
definitely
fair.
was. So there definitely was. It wasn't like we were living in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this is a little bit different.
For sure.
Also, having a child, and so those things there's something. Yes, I'd like to see us do more often, but there are other things that take the forefront of that. So it's not an easy, straightforward question, at least for me.
Yeah.
For me to answer.
Yeah. Like you'd like to see us get back to it, but we have to get back to a space.
Correct.
We're ready. I hear that.
Correct.
I think for me, were you done with your answer?
I am.
Okay. I think for me, the answer is travel. Like, hands down. I want to be traveling more. I want to be out traveling the world. Right? Like, our first year of marriage, we were gone.
Yeah, we were.
Not home.
We were. It was a lot
and
of
even
time.
when Bree was first born, we were, like, catching flights like nobody's business. And you're right. It is very indicative of the fact that our lives have shifted so much and we've made such massive changes. We've literally like halved our income. And then like gone back up and come back down. Like we kind of been all over the place, and now we're in this big transition. And so that's true of like, we don't know. And even like in the transition, we don't exactly know where the Lord is taking things. And so it may take time to kind of get back to the space where we're just like catching flights.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay, I think that was it. Here's my bonus question. What would you say to single ladies who want to be married one day, have amazing potential? We believe that the Lord has spoken that this is the year of relationship. He's doing so much in marriages and dating and just great things in relationships. What would you say to encourage single women in this time, in this space, in this culture? We didn't even touch like culture stuff.
I would say from a male perspective, the women that are themselves, and I know that that's very cliche, and people, and I'm sure there'll be people that say, well, I am myself and nothing's going on. Yes, and at the same time, being yourself and working on yourself at the same time, and that is challenging, right? Because again, like I shared that, why do I keep walking into the same wall? It was because of the fact that I wasn't wanting to change the things that I needed to change in order to move forward. So sometimes it's a season of taking a true and honest inventory of yourself. Being okay with saying, like, have your circle of people. And I know that you talk about your tribe all the time. Have your circle of people who you can have real, honest, deep conversations with, that you know their heartbeat, that you know who they are. And you can take that, you can take the challenges from them and not be offended by them, if we're talking about culture, like, if not to be offended by them, not to cancel them, so to speak. Like, yo, if these are the people that I'm truly doing life with, like I have a group of friends that I've known for 25, 30 years, and we don't see each other every day, but if I have a question or they have a question, they know that I'm going to give it to them straight. That it may sting, but I say it because I love them. And I want them to be the best person that they can be. And I think if you don't have that, ladies, if you don't have that, if you don't have a community that you can be 100% real with, that you can be your true and genuine self, not to be judged, but to be corrected in love. For instance, biblically, if we're going to be corrected in love, right? It says in the word, it talks about, better, when it talks about the words of a friend are better than multiple kisses from an enemy. So I would rather have my friends who know me, love me.
The rebuke of a friend.
Yeah, rebuke of a friend is better than multiple kisses from an enemy. It's in Proverbs. But if I truly want to be better, then I have to be okay with the fact that I'm not perfect. I know I need work, and sometimes you need the outside perspective of someone that you truly are on board with to get that into that. So find your circle.
Yeah.
Be real with them, and be willing to take a rebuke in love, and work it, and allow them to work with you in that circumstance or in those things. Like, you don't have to be the Lone Ranger. There's reason that we're all equipped for friendship and fellowship and stuff, because we weren't meant to do it alone. Obviously, first and foremost, it's because our relationship with Christ, that's the first one, right? But it also talks about, like, before we can, in the word, it also talks about, before I come to you, make sure that make sure we're straight here before I come to you. And if I have to step away and get these in order, there's reasons for that. It's not like, you can't say, well, forget all this stuff, I just want to talk to you. Well, we need this. So we need this as much as we need that. And so I think that get around women that love you, care about you, and are wanting the best for you. Not the best for them, not the best you for them, but the best you for you. So.
And just to clarify, like, clearly we need this more.
100%. No, I mean, well, it's important as well. 100%. Like, it's important as well.
Yeah, directly after we need our relationship with Jesus. Like, we need people. I think about
community. We need community.
I think about Adam in the garden, and Pastor was just preaching about how, God immediately, the first thing that God saw that was not good was that Adam was alone. And he kind of was like saying how, it wasn't that, it was this loneliness, worldly loneliness. Right. And immediately what I realized is, like, no, like, Adam was the only perfect man. He was the only sinless, blameless, perfectly in communion with God man at the time. So he didn't have insecurities. He didn't need coping mechanisms. So his purpose for marriage was not to try and heal anything. His purpose for marriage was because God knew that it was not good for us to live in silos and to live individually and isolated. If you've been around the Her Tribe for any amount of time, you already know the 3 things that I think are so important to avoid unnecessary pain, which is my number 1 goal in your life. Are to heal yourself, right? To heal, to recognize and acknowledge and to be healed in your heart from the things that you've gone through in life. And then the second thing is to experience life. Like, enjoy your singleness, make the most of it while you can. And then finally, be in good relationships, right? I have said it over and over, and I get it. Don't be telling everybody your business. I get it. And the foundation of our lives is Christ, and the foundation of marriage, a good, healthy, strong marriage, is friendship, is tribe. So that when we need help, when we need somebody to lean on, when we need to process, we have people who are wiser than us, who love Jesus and are going to align us, get us back in line with the Lord.
Right.
So the relationships all the way from tribe through understanding the purpose of marriage and knowing what marriage is for. Get those things. Get a strong foundation, a strong understanding of who you are in Christ and what the Lord has for you, and then a strong foundation of what he has. Why did he create marriage? What's the purpose of it? And then also, how does that affect you and apply to you? So if you are in a space where you're like, oh, I need more of this. This was really good. I definitely want to be around more community. There's a couple things coming up. You can definitely check out the links in the comments. We have round tables coming up. So this was like a 2-person round table.
Yeah.
There's a question that gets thrown out and we just talk about it. We talk about our experiences. We talk about what the word says and encourage each other. It's all ladies. So unfortunately, babe,
Becoming him coming soon.
no, it's not.
No,
It's not in the works yet. But there's definitely some roundtables. We're gonna have one a month starting in May 20th or 22nd, whatever that Saturday is. And then the Pursuit Conference is coming up in June, and he will be there. So if you have questions or if you want men's perspectives, we're gonna have a couple men. Yeah. We're gonna have some older couples there who are gonna be panelists who are gonna give even us some really good insight on what it is, what is marriage as we get into our 7th year, as we start getting into our big kid years in marriage. We're looking forward to learning from those panelists too. So yeah, that's that. Check out the comments. Leave me some comments. Was this helpful? Did you enjoy this? Do we need to see the babe a little more in her tribe?
Yeah. Breaking down silos. Boom.
Boom. Love y'all.
Love you guys.
Take care.
See ya.